Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity on the River's virtual Sunday service for July 26, 2020. I am Rev Ogun, Senior Minister. Whether this is the first time or the 4,001st time you're joining us online, because it's felt that long since the coronavirus started, or maybe you're a regular online viewer, I don't know, but we are glad that you are here. Welcome to our service. Let us begin by centering in prayer. So I invite you to pause, focus, take a deep breath, gently close the eyes and center into this time, into this moment. Center into your heart. And in the midst of all that swirls around us, we remember to look for the good, to be grateful for all that is still good in our lives and the lives of the people we love. And today, what is good is that we can still connect, maybe not in person, but in spirit, in energy, in consciousness, a spiritual community. I am grateful that you are part of my life experience. Each and every one of you who are part of Unity on the River and our wider spiritual community, those of you who are watching, you are part of my experience of the divine. I feel you, I see you, and I am grateful for who you are. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen and amen. So today I'm joined by our music director, Meg Rayne. Only one boy in the shed today, that's Brian, but we're still gonna have an awesome service for you. I'm actually gonna turn it over to Brian right now. Take it away, Brian. After I unmute you. There you go.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Brian, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am free, free, free. I am free to be all that I am today. And I want to celebrate all of you and my little daughter, granddaughter, Via. Not my daughter, my granddaughter, thank God, who helped me write this little song for us all. I'm free, free, free to be all that I am. I am free, free, free to choose. I am free.
Thank you, Meg. Yes, yes, we are free to choose love. Thank you. Great song. Telvia, good job. Usually at this point, we'd be setting up for meditation, but today I'm going to jump right into the talk because as part of the talk, we are going to do an extended meditation practice. So I want to take the time to set that up for us. Today I'm continuing in my journey through When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. I believe today's part 8, and I'm actually going to be wrapping up the series next week. So I do invite you, if you don't have the book, to order it. It is a book that, even though it was written over 20 years ago, is so speaking to us right now. And also revisit the talks that I did in the series and the meditations to help ground us during these during these times. So today's meditation experience is, some of you might be familiar with it. It's called Tonglen, and it's a Buddhist practice that really speaks to us being part of the collective pain in the world and transforming it within us. But before I get to that, part of the reason that we're going to look at Tonglen today is because it's one of the 3 steps that she describes in working with chaos. There's a chapter called Working with Chaos, and it seems that we can relate to chaos so much more right now. I think even more so than 20 some years ago when she wrote that book. She wrote the book in 97. I was trying to remember, compared to now, what was so chaotic about 1997, but I'm sure there was something going on. But right now, like, chaos is our seemingly truly global everyday reality. We see the coronavirus continue to spread across the world. Cases and deaths continue to rise here in our country. We see, even though you may not see it in the news, the racial justice protests are continuing, and in some cases, like Portland, escalating as protesters and mothers are clashing with military. It's looking like things are spiraling. And for each and every one of us, as we see these case rises and the conversation around maybe we need to do more shutting down again, there's this frustration of why it's not getting better for us, and anxiety around, even though some of us haven't really been going out, the anxiety of it really having to be enforced again. So there's this anxiety about going back into deeper sense of isolation for us as we are continuing to struggle with the isolation we have to deal with now. So there's a lot that's being stirred up for us. And again, this week, it seems more so, and maybe it's just me, but it seems more so this week as things continue to go that way. And she says something, she writes something, Pema Chodron, that I think that speaks to our situation right now. She writes that times are difficult globally. Awakening is no longer a luxury or an ideal. It's becoming critical. We don't need to add more depression, more discouragement, more anger to what's already here. It's becoming essential that we learn how to relate sanely with difficult times. The earth seems to be beseeching us to connect with joy and discover our innermost essence. That last sentence really jumping out. The earth seems to be beseeching us to connect with joy and discover our innermost essence. Because I think that's what's going to get us through this, not outside experiences to make us happy and make us joyful, because as you can see, we haven't been able to experience a lot of those. More so now than ever, we have to discover the innermost essence of joy for ourselves to help sustain us during this time. And yes, it is hard when there is all the chaos swirling around. So here's the 3 steps, or the 3 methods she recommends for working with chaos. And some of these may remind you of the things that she shared previously and that I've shared previously. And if that seems so, it's because they're building on each other. So if it sounds familiar, don't be tempted to think, oh, he's just saying the same thing all over again. No. See this as an expansion of things that were shared before. So the first thing she talks about is the methods. There are three. No more struggle, use poison as medicine, and see whatever arises as enlightened wisdom. Let's look at the first one, no more struggle. So this is the thought of whatever arises in our minds when we're sitting to meditate. We look at it, we call it thinking. Oh, look, there was a thought. And then we return to our breath. And you've heard me introduce meditation many times this way. I often invite us when we're meditating to allow the breath to anchor us. And if we get distracted by a sensation, just notice it without judgment and return to the breath. So this is that method that she's speaking to. When we're meditating, something pops into our mind, we just notice it, say, oh, thinking again, and then return to the breath. And this meditation practice is how we stop struggling with ourselves internally, with our emotions, with our moods. As things come up, we just notice and return to the breath. We don't try to stop them from coming up. We don't judge ourselves because they came up and beat ourselves up for going, oh, why can't I still the mind when I meditate? I must not be doing meditation right. No, it's not about that. She actually says we have to remember that our practice is not about accomplishing anything, about winning or losing. It's about ceasing to struggle and relaxing as it is. So if we can really get that our meditation practice, which I truly hope you're doing every day, even multiple times a day, if you get that your meditation practice is not about accomplishing anything other than returning to the breath, like that's it. And we know we're going to get distracted. It's what the mind does. You know, a sound happens, you know, your stomach gurgles because you're hungry and it distracts you. When the distractions happen, you just return to the breath. If we can get that down during meditation and make that our general mental practice, then we can do it for things in life. We can extrapolate that out so that when things happen, chaotic things happen, we look at them and simply return to our own inner presence. And it is from this presence beyond the emotions of despair or anger or sadness or horror, when we get behind those emotions and we are grounded in that place of presence, then we can clearly know what's ours to do about what's happening, what's ours to be about what's happening. But it has to come from that place first. So the struggle against what's happening outside of us begins by ceasing the struggle with our own minds. And the meditation practice of returning to the breath is a great way to start that. So that's the no more struggle. The next one, use poison as medicine. And this is speaking to, remember we talked a couple of weeks ago about arrows in the flowers, how we see the obstacles as opportunities. So this is building on that. And this is how we use difficult situations as fuel for awakening. You've heard me say many times, whatever shows up for us is the opportunity for us to show up as God. This is what this is about. And when you think about it, use poison as medicine, that's kind of how we create vaccines, right? We take a little bit of whatever the virus is and we use that in a curated way and inject it into our bodies to help our bodies build up their own antibodies and preventative measures for any viruses. So we've dealt with polio, chickenpox, all those diseases. The vaccines are actually built on the very cells of the virus. So this is what we do as well. And she speaks about 3 poisons specifically. There's the poison of passion, which is really about craving or addiction. And we talk about how we are addicted to avoiding pain and we crave things to distract us from the painful feelings that we don't want to experience. So that's the passion she's referring to. All right, the passion to distract. Then she speaks about aggression, which speaks for itself, acting from anger. And then the third poison is ignorance. That's when we are in denial about the feelings that we're experiencing, and we just shut ourselves down, we numb ourselves out, and we don't want to feel what's coming up. We actually deny it. And this is one of the this falls under, when we think about, you know, unity speak and new thought speak, this is sometimes what we refer to as spiritual bypassing. We don't even allow ourselves to feel the feelings, and we don't acknowledge they're real. Many of you are familiar with the idea of denials and affirmations, and sometimes we misunderstand that that's what denial means. We don't think it's real. No, denial is the acknowledgement that we don't give them power over us. And this is sort of what she's saying here as well. Don't let the denial take over and have power over you and allow you to not honor the feelings that are coming up. That's a poison. So what she's saying is, when difficulty arises and we are tempted to be poisoned by one of these, that, you know, we breathe it in, whether it's conflict and unworthiness, embarrassment, painful emotions, we breathe them in instead of trying to get rid of them or eliminate them. And this is what the practice of Tonglen is. It's about breathing in intentionally those feelings, seeing them, acknowledging them, breathe them in, and then we breathe out what we're trying to experience. We breathe out peace, we breathe out love. She says Tonglen is when we let the storyline go and breathe it in, not just the anger, resentment, or loneliness we might be feeling, but the identical pain of others who in the very moment are also feeling the rage, the bitterness, the isolation. We breathe it in for everyone. We breathe it in, we transmute it, and we breathe out love and kindness, love and intention. We're gonna do an extended Tonglen practice in a little bit, but that's again one of the ways we deal with chaos. We don't avoid it. We intentionally breathe it in and we breathe it out. And here again is where sometimes we take new thought teachings and misunderstand them. We say things like, I don't want that in my consciousness. Why would I breathe that in? That's not what this is about. Because when we seek to deny the reality of our experience, then we're not transforming it. We're not doing anything with it. It is in our consciousness. So we have to actively do the work to transform, transmute that. And that's part of the practice of denials and affirmations. It's intended to remind us of the truth of who we are as divine beings in the midst of all the chaos that swirls around us. Tonglen is another practice, Buddhist practice, that builds on that. And then the third way we deal with chaos is to see whatever arises as enlightened wisdom. Pema Chodron writes that this reverses our fundamental habitual pattern of trying to avoid conflict, trying to make ourselves better than we are, trying to smooth things out and pretty them up, trying to prove that pain is a mistake and would not exist in our lives if we only did all the right things. It's about learning to not divide ourselves between good side and a bad side, and a pure side and impure side, even a spiritual or secular side. This is a practice about loving the entirety of who we are. For me, that's what it means to demonstrate wholeness, to live and love the entirety of who we are. Is there always room for growth and improvement and transformation? Of course there is. But that doesn't mean who we are in the moment is wrong. And for many of us, this is the step towards fully loving ourselves. We see that there may be room for improvement, and therefore we kind of reverse engineer and said, well, that means that part of me is wrong or broken, or I'm not doing something right. No, it's just who you are right now, and who you are right now is okay. And we can only continue to grow if we love all of ourselves. We have to accept that chaos is a natural part of existence, both internally and externally. So rather than fight it, let's work with it. Let's use the chaos as the tool for our transformation. So again, those three methods of working with chaos: no more struggle, use the poison as medicine, and see whatever arises as enlightened wisdom. So what I want to invite us into right now is Tonglen Meditation. And you can return to this anytime during the week. If you have trouble remembering the steps on your own, come back and replay this as often as you need to. I'll describe the process for you and why we do what we do, and then we're going to practice it. I don't want to distract you too much during the time with descriptors. So there are kind of 4 stages for Tonglen. The first stage is what we call open. We simply rest in stillness for a minute or two. In Buddhism, they call this flashing on absolute bodhicitta. It's awakening our heart mind, opening our hearts to spaciousness, the clarity, connecting with the wisdom of the heart, not the thoughts of the mind. So when we start that first part, open, I'm going to invite you to, again, breathe, follow the breath, connect with the heart. Should any thoughts arise during this time, notice them. Say, there's a thought, I'm thinking, come back to the breath. So we're going to do that for a couple minutes. Step 2 is called visualize. So first we open, then we visualize. And this visualization is sort of breathing in all the darkness, the heaviness, negative energy that you're feeling internally, that you're feeling that's out there. Don't focus on anything in particular, just feel it and breathe it in. And then breathe out feelings of coolness and brightness and light, a sense of freshness, positive energy. So you breathe in and imagine negative energy radiating throughout you, and then breathe out positive energy coming out from you as well. Okay? So it's not about holding on to the negative energy. It's about acknowledging that there is negative energy and absorbing it, and then breathing out positive energy. So we'll spend a couple minutes doing that as well, and do it so that the visualizing the negative is on the in-breath, and on the out-breath is visualizing the positive. So we open, then we visualize. The third step is to focus. So while we're still visualizing and breathing, we bring to mind a specific painful situation that's real for us right now. Okay? And I'm going to invite you not to belittle any situation that you think is painful. You know, some of us get in the habit of thinking that our particular pain isn't worth acknowledging because someone else is suffering worse than we are. No. If it's real for us, it's pain for us. And our body responds to the pain. Our heart responds to the pain. So whatever it is, and if this is the first time, if this is the first time you're doing Tonglen, and you maybe want to start with something small, as I like to call it, if you don't necessarily want to bring the big tissue issues right now. So if you want to start with something small, you're welcome to do that. But focus on situation that's real for you, that's bringing up pain. Okay? So we start with that. If you can't, if there's no situation in your life that's bringing you pain right now, focus on someone else that you care about that may be going through a painful experience. We have, for example, we have some of our congregants who were recently hospitalized, like Nancy and Keith Bickford. They're back home now, but they're still recovering and still in lots of pain and discomfort. Some of you know Stephanie Roy. She just recently, a few days ago, lost her son who was 40 years old from a tragic accident. And it's our hearts are going out to her. Perhaps if you can hold her in your consciousness as we are going through this. So feel the pain for your situation. Okay. And then that's focus. And then the last stage is to expand the compassion. And what this stage is the painful situation that you're holding for yourself. this is when you begin to hold it for other people as well. So if you weren't holding it for someone else in the focus part, now you hold it for someone else. And know that there are other people who are going through exactly what you're going through. We are never the only ones suffering from a particular situation. Other people have lost loved ones. Other people are recovering from illness. Other people are chronically ill as well. So the pain and discomfort you feel for yourself around these things, hold it for others as well, and continue to expand that sense of compassion, that sense of breathing out the bliss and the love to others that you know who are suffering, and then to others who you don't know that are suffering. Then you continue to just spread it out. Breathe in the negative energy, the pain, and breathe out the love. Breathe out the wholeness. Breathe out the grace and peace of divinity. So this is the Tonglen practice. We open, we visualize, where we just work with the energy. We focus when we think of a specific painful situation for ourselves first. And if you can't do it for yourself, for someone else that you know and love. And then the last stage is expanding the compassion, where if you haven't been doing it for someone else yet, you do it for someone else, and then even beyond that. So loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, the world. Okay? So what I'm going to do in order to cut down the distraction is I will start us off and ring my bell at the beginning of each section, and I will simply say the name of it. So I'll ring and say open, and this is when we center in and breathe and just become still. Then I'll ring and simply say visualize. That's taking in the energy, breathing in the energy, breathing out the love and brightness and light. So you breathe in negative energy, breathe out brightness and light, positive energy. Then I'll ring the bell again and say focus. And that's when we think of the specific situation of pain for ourselves, or maybe for a loved one. But I'll invite you to find something for yourself first. And then finally I'll ring it again, and then I'll say expand. And then we go out beyond ourselves. And then at the end, I'll ring it 3 times, and 3 times is the indication that we've brought the meditation to a close. So there won't be any music, and it will just be ringing the bell and these 4 words. So I invite you now to join me in this practice. So become comfortable wherever you are, sitting or lying. And just gently close the eyes. And at the tone of the bell, begin to focus on the breath and connect with the heart. Open. Visualize. Focus. expand. Thank you for being in this space with me. Thank you for transforming and transmuting the energy in yourself and in the world. If you don't have a consistent meditation practice at this time, I invite you. I'm going to push this up a notch. I'm going to challenge you to do this Tonglen meditation every day for a week. Every day for this week. You can take 2 to 3 minutes for each of the sections or longer. As you expand the compassion in that last stage, begin to expand it to those who you perceive to be enemies, to be those against you, the people you don't like, the people you wish weren't in power. Because the truth is, in spirit, there is nothing and no one against us. We forget this and we think there are people and things against us. And it builds up that wall of separation, of resentment. So we begin to diffuse that by this practice. Again, this does not mean that we don't seek to transform this world into one that works for all in the policies and systems. However, we do it from a place of realization that we are all suffering from the way things are, both the oppression, the oppressed. And when we can hold everyone truly in that light of compassion, that's when the transformation truly begins to happen. So every day this week, and if you already have a consistent meditation practice, the challenge is for you to add this one. It's just 10 to 12 more minutes at another point in the day. Let's do some active spiritual meditative work to transform ourselves and transform the world through this Tonglen practice. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Brian, who will remind us that we are indeed instruments of peace.
sing along on this part all together. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Thank you, Brian. That was beautiful. Indeed, let us be instruments of peace by first becoming the peace ourselves. Few announcements before we wrap up today's service. Just a reminder, our second and final build-in farewell service will be at 5 o'clock this evening. Again, bring your lawn chairs, bring your umbrellas, bring some coolers with drinks. It looks like it's gonna be another warm afternoon. Not as warm as last week, but still a little bit toasty. Also, remember, there's going to be a bookstore inventory blowout sale. We still have lots of stuff there. The bookstore will be open from 4 p.m. We will have the opportunity, if you want to walk through and give the building a final blessing from the inside, but the service will be outdoors at the back at Meditation Garden. When you arrive, you will see that they have been spots marked on the pavement, hearts. That's where you plant your chairs so that we can keep ourselves safe, socially distanced. And again, please wear a mask at all times while you are there. Part 2 of Dr. Joel Brown's workshop, The Inclusive Side of Oneness, Part 2. That's going to be this coming Saturday, August 1st, from 1 to 4 p.m. Registration is still open. We have that sliding scale, so you pay anywhere between $25 to $75, whatever you want. You did not have to have done part 1 to do part 2. So if you missed part 1, still jump in on this. They do a great job. Joel and his colleague do a great job of specifically addressing this work for spiritual people. So I truly encourage you and encourage other people you know to take advantage of this. You can go to unityontheriver.org/classes to register. Also, registration for the Unity Eastern Region 2020 virtual conference is now open. They're calling it Our Evolving Consciousness, Diving Deeply into the Extraordinary. It will be fully online this year. There's a link to register in the email newsletter. It's not up on our website yet, but we'll put it up there, or you can just Google Unity Eastern Region Conference. If you remember a couple years back, we hosted this at our community and it was a fabulous experience. You have up until September 28th to register, but I'm just putting it out there right now. And they do have some payment plan options set up if you're thinking this might be something beyond your affordability. Don't assume that. Give them a call, check it out. So that's the Unity Eastern Region Conference. Thank you as always for the donations you give us to help our community continue to survive and thrive. We are getting ready this month. As you know, we're selling the building, we're closing in a few weeks, and we will have some expenses coming up associated with the move. So it would be awesome if you could take that into account and share some extra with us this week so that we can transition and have the place ready for the new folks who are buying it from us. We will not be receiving proceeds from the sale till after the closing, so it's not like we can use sale proceeds for moving expenses. So we open that up to you. If you're coming to the service this evening, you'll have an opportunity to leave a love offering as well for our musicians who were there last week. The band was back in form. They were rocking. It was a party. So please come out to that this evening as well. So again, you can visit unityontheriver.org/donate to leave a donation there. or you can set up easy text to donate on your phone by texting the word give, G-I-V-E, to 833-702-4337. After that one-time setup, you literally just punch in a number and boom, that's your donation to the church. The setup takes about 5 minutes, and after that, it literally takes 10 seconds to send a donation. So please look at ways of doing that. And for the next few weeks, you can still mail your check to 58 Macy Street in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Folks have been asking, what are you doing next? Where are you going to go? All that sort of stuff. It looks like the current plan is to rent some office space in Amesbury. It's kind of like a central grounding space, and put the things in storage for right now as we continue to look for where our next spiritual home is going to be. Once again, the blessing of this building sale happening during the pandemic is that we don't have to rush to find the perfect space, because we couldn't use it if we found it right now, because we are clear that it's not in good public health for us to gather indoors to have a service. So this is the gift of this time. This is the abundance consciousness that we are allowing, that this is what's happening. And as I always tell you, God shows up at the point of your need, not before. Okay, we literally don't need a new space right now because we couldn't use it. So in my brain, how this is going to work out, because I've also been holding the consciousness with a lot of others that the sale would happen while we were displaced during the pandemic. So I'm fairly certain that when it becomes safe for us to meet again inside and have a service like we used to, this is when that perfect space will show up for us. So join me in holding that. Our affirmation from way before was with ease and grace. And therefore this has been perfect. This has been perfect. So I invite you all to continue to see it as that, and continue to see us thriving as a spiritual community. So that's all I got for today. If you're watching this Sunday morning, join us for virtual Zoom hospitality. All the directions are on the church's website, unityontheriver.org. I'm not going to be able to join you today, but our licensed Unity teacher, Amy Jocelyn, will be there to facilitate hospitality. So come connect with your fellow spiritual community members and have a good time. And hopefully I'll see some of you this evening for our farewell service. So let us, in our minds, virtually hold hands with the people next to us as we sing together, "Let there be peace on earth." God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. Let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. And the light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are
the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are
the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we are richly blessed.
Woo.
Namaste.
Namaste.